Miami in the building, comes in 6-0 right now. One of the best starts in this season, probably in the past 20 years. I think it don't matter. We here now. We living in the present, not the past. So right now they got us a 4-point favorite over Louisville. What does that tell you? Just look, if you were a bettor and you saw 4-point favorite Miami over Louisville, Miami's undefeated. Louisville comes into this deal. I don't know what their record is and really don't care. However, as I look at them, what does that tell you if you were a betting man and you went to Vegas and saw that line? What does those numbers scream to you?
It just says Louisville is a team that can play. And so It shouldn't be it's not going to be an easy game for the Hurricanes. That's what that line says to me.
And I hate to say it, but the line tells me that. But my mind is telling me no. But my Cane fandom is telling me we're going to whoop these people behind, dog. I said in the previous shows, 12, that this is a statement game for the Miami Hurricanes. We got to beat they behind at least by a dub. Now, I was on Coach Coop last night. I called in. I told Coop 38-20. That's an 18-point differential. So I'm kind of in there. So I say that if this is going to be a statement game for the Miami Hurricanes, and the reason I say this is a statement game because of how we played the past 2 weeks, right? We played VTech, literally won that with a photo finish. We played Cal. We literally had to come back from the depths of hell to win that game in the Lions Den or Bear territory, whatever they call that crap out there. And for a team to be where we are or what we are expected to be, we should, in my opinion, should not have been in those kind of battles. However, it is football; those things happen. But you can't be considered a great team and constantly fighting week in and week out with subpar talent. If that's how I'm looking at it. It's not like we playing Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Oregon back to back to back. I could take those kind of wins if we playing these top ranked opponents. These guys don't even have numbers before their name. So, and we do. We got a 6 in front of ours. So with that being said, I'm saying to myself, we got to now make a statement in this game because a lot of people got us losing this game, even some Cane fans.
Well, you make a valid point, Coach.
And they 4-2.
For me, this has to be a game in which we assert who we really are as the Miami Hurricanes. Coming off the bye, we don't have any excuses. If anybody wasn't healthy, we get a chance to be healthy. And so this is definitely a game we have to ensure that this is a game for the polls, because even though we've been winning, they barely want to move us up. We inching up, I think we at 6 now, and so many people lost, and we still can't crack the top 5. And they got some other teams who have 1 losses not too far behind us. So Correct. we have to make sure that we provide what the fans want. And I get it. It's never going to be a cakewalk, but we can't be in these types of situational games with these types of teams. It shouldn't happen.
Correct. And to your point, there are 2 teams in front of us. Ohio State, who lost to Oregon, who is currently number 2. I think they were 2-3 when they played. So Ohio State, they dropped. Georgia is 5-1, and they lost the game. And then right behind us is Alabama, who is 5-1, who lost to Vanderbilt, and LSU is 5-1, and then Iowa State, who's 6-0. And I think Iowa State is playing UCF today. Should probably be 7-0, in my opinion, based on this. So, again, right now, I believe we're sitting where we're sitting because of what we already knew, the level of competition in the schedule in which we play. And you're not beating these 2 teams convincingly. If you're putting up 20 on them, 30 on them, or beating them how we beat Florida, a convincing win. Florida not necessarily a good team, but people know they have talent. If you beat these other teams convincingly, I think we could have leapfrogged at least maybe Georgia. Could have leapfrogged Georgia. And so I think Georgia takes an L today against Texas, in my opinion. And so therefore, guess what? We should leapfrog them definitely with a convincing win over them. And I want the respect too. Let's call it what it is. I know a win is a win, but I don't want people to say, yeah, the Hurricanes, they only undefeated because they cheated for them. No, leave it out the rough hands, because literally we could be 4-2 today as well. Those calls could have went either way. Nothing we could do about it, but moan and be and complain, and we would be 4-2 as well, and which should be a historic season for the Miami Hurricanes. That's just how I look at it. Real quick, as I look at this line up here, because like I said, we don't have a lot of time. We'll open up the phone lines here with the last 30 to go. And kickoff here for the Hurricanes is at 12 p.m. So we're gonna make this thing happen, man. Let me look here. I'm trying to look at the doggone line up in here. Okay. They got it here. Where my line at, man? What about to piss me off? I'm getting hot. What in the God's green earth is happening? All right, here we go. My bad. Had too many windows open. I was lost. A little lost. All right, so like I said, 4 points. I think we blow that out the water. If you're a betting man, then guess what? I would go past it. That's just me. I would go beyond it. What they got, the over-under? What's the over-under on this doggone thing? Ooh, here's what's interesting. These people got Miami 46, Louisville 29, but they're saying it's a 4-point game. That's the thing. I'm not understanding. Trying to see right quick. Okay. All right. So let me ask you this, 12, before I get your score prediction. Who's gonna be the standout player? And you can't say Restrepo or Cam. Who's gonna pop off the tape today outside of those two people who have been consistent throughout the season?
Hey, I'm gonna say just like this. You saw the at the end of the game when Cam gave the interview. He said, "Good, Blake, number 2." I think number 2. Good number 2, huh? Good number 2. I think number 2. Horton. I think Horton will be the person to definitely step up today. I think they're building that type of chemistry. You can just see how he looks for a Horton outside of Restrepo. He does look for Horton a lot, I believe, and I think Horton is going to have another breakout game today. We can stretch the field. I think we need to insert him quicker than coming off the bench. I don't know if I don't believe he's a starter. I think he may be depending on the package, but I think he comes in off the bench. I think he needs to be starting. I think he needs to start the game today off the break, and so we can start off strong. They got Brown in there. I believe it's Brown. I don't think for right now it's not working for me. He can come in. Let Horton start this thing off with Restrepo, and we can go from there.
Yeah. Real quick to Ham's point. Shout out to Ham in the building. I think it was Ham. Hold on. God doggone that. Here you go. It says Bama not beating teams convincingly. Not necessarily, but the people in which they're playing are a higher level of competition, right? They beat Georgia. They beat a number 5 ranked team, which was probably higher at that point. I don't know when I think it was number 5 at that point. They lost to a Vanderbilt, which was playing pretty good this season, right? Which is a loss, and then they beat a South Carolina. So to your point, yes, you're right. But if you take in consideration the level of competition, I get it. Now, could we have leapfrogged? But again, they still got Bama behind us. So I hear what you're saying, but I appreciate it. I'm gonna go back with mine, Damian Martinez. Not only because I kept him on my fantasy, but it's time for him to have a legitimate game. And he's having a quiet season. It's not a bad season. It's just a quiet season. It's not a what's been expected season from a Damian Martinez. He hasn't popped off the screen like Tyler Barron has when he came in, makes immediate impact, crazy for leading the team in sacks right now. So far as transfer guys, I mean, Cam, of course, comes in, pops off, transfer guy. You see what I'm saying? So, and for his stature, I think the fan base expected to see a 60-yard run, 50-yard runs, him coming in with 150, 180, 190-yard games, and we haven't seen. I don't think he's broken 100 yet on the season in a single game so far as rushing. So I think it's his time. He needs this. The team needs this because our running game, in essence, I don't want to call it suspect, but again, not what expected. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, we're getting 100 yards, but it's being split in between 2 backs for the most part.
2 and 3 people.
Two and 3 people. So it's not the sexy running where you like to your point you just said. You're not getting 150 yards on his own. We're getting it collectively from the running back room. And so, yeah, I think if we didn't have the decent running backs we do have, he probably would get more carries, more opportunities. But at the same time, you got to take advantage of the ones that he's given. And so, yeah, right.
No, I totally agree. I wish, like I said, I think Damian Martinez's problem is just my observation is that they have one running scheme and all three guys run the same plays. I don't think they have it packaged for Damian Martinez and Mark Fletcher are similar in size, but skill sets to me are totally different. Damian Martinez is not a jump cut guy. He's a downhill one cut guy. Mark Fletcher can put his foot in the ground, jump cut, get outside, and make it happen. Jordan Lyle is a different skill set, although they're all kind of similar maybe in size, but I think they're a little bit different. He's a 45-degree runner. He's an outside zone, off tackle runner, one cut, hit the gut, and go, in my opinion. LV in the building. I love it. Coach Laura Martinez, like a woman who believe her ain't ish Nika. Well, you let me live, LV, and I mean right now. I got him on my fantasy, and I'm 1-5. I'm looking like Florida State in my fantasy. Shout out to the failed State University who lost to Duke yesterday. So shout out to Duke. That'll probably the only time you ever hear me shoot Duke out or shot Duke out, shoot, whatever. It don't matter. That's the only time I'm going to be a fan of Duke. So we're going to take quick work of them after Florida State. And I will be at the Florida State game. So somebody asked, I think Paco asked me that. I will be at the Florida State game. Mike Lowry, where you been, man? Where you been? I appreciate you, dog. Call in. I miss you. I ain't talked to you in a minute. We'll open up the phone lines here in a second. Real quick before we push on to the next segment here, what's your score prediction for the day?
Man, Coach, the defense.
Do I need to slap you with all that stuttering and hesitation? Don't be in here hemming and hawing.
Let me tell you this, Coach. I got to see how they come out of this break. But I'm gonna go with them. I'm gonna go with. Let's go 38-27. 38-27.
Carry the one. That's 11 points.
Oh, we'll give them that. 38-27.
No, that's disrespectful.
Let's
disrespectful.
Louisville,
yeah, we in the locker room, Lou. Teammates, we in the locker room, team member.
Louisville has some players, man.
They do.
Yeah, and they can play. And so, again, we got to see how the defense, let's see how they come out this break. I'll give you more of how I'm feeling depending on how this game goes. But, the offense is doing their thing. We just got to make sure the defense tightens up a little bit.
All right, so talk about that. A lot of people talked about defense. What is it about the defense you think needs to tighten up? DBs, box, linebackers, D-line, what?
I think we need to ensure that the secondary needs to tighten up. We have to make sure that the secondary is tightening up. And we got to ensure that we're tackling better. We have to tackle. Better, and we have to, make sure the secondary is taken care of. And we can't allow these explosive plays. There's too many explosive plays, man. One and done. They airing it out. They pitching the ball. They getting down the field. Chunk plays, 50, 60 yards. You can't allow that. And Louisville is the type of team that can make you pay with those. The receiver from the crib on the outside.
Curry Brooks.
I mean, come on, man. They have talent. They have runners. And their quarterback is not bad at all. So our defense has to set the tone early and go from there.
No, I agree.